because that's essentially your message. I do this so you can have that. Write that down for me.
This is definitely not just a branding course. For anybody who is thinking about branding or marketing, this is definitely not that. I've Googled and I've studied some information around branding and marketing, and this is so much more.
But I've learned loads of things, maybe 3 big things. The first is how to craft my story and my message and package it into a way that's going to move people into taking action.
I've given myself self-confidence again and being in front of the camera, which I have not really been in front of the camera this much.
I was excited and just really can't wait to continue this journey. It's just the beginning of something massive.
The second thing I found out is some confidence in speaking and getting up in front of an audience and talking about my business and my mission and my vision for the future.
So it's not just about what to say and what to do in terms of marketing. It's actually about what to actually have, how to have a system that will take you from where you are to where you want to be, how to implement that system, and how to build it live over that 3-day period.
Learn how to turn that vision into belief and a plan of action. A great structure.
It was like a branding experience more than a course. Like, it's more than you could just write down on a piece of paper. So much has gone on up here that it's like it's just amazing.
And the last thing I've learned is just how inspirational being around like-minded people are. You always hear that you're the average of the 5 people you hang out the most with. And at this event, it's been so moving and inspiring to connect with these people. And that's another part of the course. It's not just branding. It's the whole package.
Hello and welcome to day 3 of Build Your Brand, the NxKit challenge. It's absolutely awesome to see you all here. Please comment below, let me know who's joining for day 3, because we've got a really juicy day coming up. With this challenge, we are aiming, right, to ensure that by the end of the 5 days, you have built a dynamic brand showcase that just has your potential clients, your potential customers, your potential followers itching at the bit to work with you, okay? Using what we've been talking about, the neuron effect, okay? How do you create an impression inside someone's mind that they are just so excited, that they are just so safe, they feel so comfortable and safe inside that they move towards you to take action. Hey, I'm Jor'EL, your global business and branding strategist and your Do What You Love activist, and I am your host for these 3 days. And I wanted to start by asking you a couple of questions, okay? Do you currently have a message, a brand, passion, or business, or are you curious about starting one? Comment below if that's where you are right now. Do you want to get your message, your passion, or your brand out to the world so you can help more people? Let me know. How many people have you challenged yourself to help? Do you have a number, right? Have you really thought about the impact that you want to have, the legacy that you want to create? Do you not only want to transform lives, but transform your life in the process? And that's by earning a great living by doing what you love. Then welcome to day 3 of the Build Your Brand with a NxKit challenge. All right, so today we are going to be looking at how we master the brand voice. Okay, it's very important because ultimately this is going to be the piece of the puzzle that's really going to help you to stand out and you to show how you do things differently to everybody else. Hey Kat, nice to see you inside the building. It's good to see that you are playing full out. It's amazing to have you here. But as I'm saying, yes, today we're going to master exactly what you need to say and how you need to come across in order to really get someone to buy into your vision and to buy into the idea of your product or service transforming their lives. And that's ultimately what we need to do, because let me be very, very clear about this. I think I was very clear in the beginning, but I want to reiterate. Branding is not about colors, logos, and fonts. Okay, that's traditional branding. That's what we were taught back in the day. Okay, we're now dealing with cyber celebrity branding, and cyber celebrity branding is really about the art of communication. How do you communicate to the highest degree? Okay, because ultimately, yes, these things, banners and, colors, logos, and fonts, they're wonderful, right? And they are eye catching. However, ultimately, what's going to help your brand or business to live or die is how connected and how engaged your potential client feels with the idea that you are going to help them to achieve that result. And also it relies on how connected they are to you as being the person to lead them on that journey. And in order to be able to communicate that effectively, you've really got to understand your brand voice. And your brand voice touches every single part of your business, as we're going to go on to find. Every single thing that you do is a contribution to your brand's voice. And this is why branding is so powerful. Okay, this is why I say with cyber celebrity branding, where we combine the best of branding, the best of personal branding, and the best of business, right? We're not separating them into individual categories. We're bringing it all to the fore. This is how you can be so dynamic, how you can have a brand that's working on your behalf, giving those crucial exposures that we've been speaking about, the 8 to 12 exposure theory, how you can have your brand giving those exposures on your behalf while you're sleeping. So when you wake up, all you have to focus on is closing, right? Bedding people in and giving them an amazing customer service. So let me start by sharing my screen, because we're going to get into this today. Comment below, let me know what your takeaway from yesterday was. Okay, how did you find yesterday? What did you learn from yesterday? And also let me know, have you done your homework, right? Have you done your homework? Have you finished off your business card element? Have you added your photos? Where are you at with your NxKit? Because this is an interactive challenge, okay? The point of this challenge is that it is meant to be interactive. And therefore, we want your challenge, okay? And by the end of this challenge, we want it to be productive. So you can leave this 5-day transformative process with something that you can go out and use straight away and begin to improve your branding and improve your business. So comment below, let me know how you've been doing with that, and where you are at with it all. All right. And also let me know if you can see my screen. Let me get myself up there as well. All right, so yes, let me know if you can see my screen. Good, I believe you should be able to. Okay, good. So your brand voice, thank you. Your brand voice. So let's look at this right now. We've been talking about the 8 to 12 touch points with your business before someone is ready to make a buying decision. Okay, now this is really, really important. And these 8 to 12 touch points, we've specified that they need to be in close succession, and they need to be what we call good touch points. We've also discussed over the 3 days about the Facebook algorithm and how the Facebook algorithm has been designed to strangle your organic reach. And so what we need to do is not just sit there and feel like, oh, I can't get my message out there. Hello, can you hear me? I think we're back. Had a technical difficulty. Let me know if you can hear me, please. Someone just comment below to let me know that you can hear me, and then it's all back up and running. Would be very, very useful. I'm gonna just hold on. Okay, fantastic. Sometimes technology just does this, right? Okay, so I'm gonna jump back into where we were, and let's get this show on the road. Sorry for the inconvenience. All right, so just gonna share my screen. All right. Good. So you should be able to see my screen. Hopefully, no more technical issues. All right. So 8 to 12 touch point theory. Okay. We've been talking about people needing between 8 to 12 touch points before they are ready to make a buying decision. It's an industry fact. And if you're not giving your potential clients, customers, or followers these touch points, then it makes it very difficult for you to be able to build your brand in a way that you can have consistent revenue coming in. Because remember, these 8 to 12 touch points are all about inner safety. Someone needs to feel safe on the inside in order to move forward and do business with you, or move forward and engage with you. And if you're not able to give them that inner safety, then what happens is your brand pushes them away. And as a result, they go and end up working with someone else who can. Okay. And that's the importance of finding your brand voice, because ultimately, your brand voice is what gives them the inner safety as they are having these 8 to 12 touch points. We also have been talking about the algorithm, right? Facebook algorithm strangling your organic reach. Now, what we have to do is we have to understand that. And if you can pay for ads, that's amazing, because you can pay for ads to put it in front of your target audience. But if you can't pay for ads, and even if you are using ads, you are still required to ensure that you build your brand in a way that beats the algorithm. And this is what we're ultimately discussing here right now. We are building our brands in a way that beats the algorithm, that regardless of how much organic reach Facebook gives us, we still have the tools to make the impact that we need with the right people. Okay. One of the things I always talk about is the micro niche. And I talk about it in the fact that niching is something that we have been told to do. It's one of those common business practices. If you're getting into business, you need to find your niche. But as I showed with traditional branding, now stepping into cyber celebrity branding, the traditional way of doing things no longer works well in this digital age. And so looking for a niche is practically going to kill your business. And why do I say that? It's because there's so many people saturating your market right now that if you are just saying the same thing to try and catch a wider audience, let's say your niche has gone what I call message blind, right? There was an advert that was in the UK. It was an advert which talked about how you get rid of odors out of your, let's say, soft furnishings. And they had this concept where if you're sitting inside a room and you have been surrounded with the same smells all the time, after a while you go nose blind, right? Because you've been oversaturated with the smell, you don't even notice it anymore. And then until someone walks into the room and they start, sniffing around, then they're like, well, what's that smell, right? Well, it's the same thing with your messaging, with your brand voice, okay, going after a niche. If you're going after a niche, it means that you have to communicate at a level which means that your audience will not take notice. However, what I believe is when you micro niche down, you can get very, very specific, okay, about the needs and the desires of that potential part of your market. And as a result, now you're going to be speaking to them in a way as though you are almost inside their head. They're going to be thinking like, how the hell do you know what I'm thinking? And that's ultimately where you want your brand voice to be. Let me give you a classic example, and let me know below, which one would you choose? All right, you've got two. You've got a photographer, and you've got a wedding photographer, right? And you've got the problem. The problem you need to solve is you want to take pictures for your wedding. Which one are you more likely to choose, the photographer or the wedding photographer? Comment below. Are you going to go for just the bog standard photographer, or are you going to go for the person who branded themselves as a wedding photographer? I'm going to take a punt and I'm going to say you're going to go for the person who brands themselves as a wedding photographer. And now the fact of the matter is the photographer could probably be the better person, right? They could probably be the one that could actually take the killer shot on your wedding day. But just for the mere fact, right, that someone branded themselves as a wedding photographer and you need someone to take a picture for your wedding, the message is now micro niched down to the point where you are more interested in them. Now, let's take it a step further. Let's say if you lived in London, okay, and now you had someone that was marketing themselves as a wedding photographer for weddings based in London. Can you see how you would go for that wedding photographer over someone that just called themselves a wedding photographer? And this is the concept of what I mean by micro niching. Getting right down to the specifics, the nitty gritty, and really understanding how to use your brand voice to communicate in a way that's going to connect with your micro niche. And talking about the algorithm and the Facebook algorithm strangling your organic reach, the key to this is that you've got to make every single touch point count. We've spoke about this a little bit before in previous lessons or previous sessions, but every single touch point has to count. And again, mastering your brand voice is going to give you the ability to do that. All right, so what is your brand voice? Your brand voice is essentially the sum total of all of your forms of communication. You know, from your content to your images, okay, to what you say about your product or your service, to your posts, to your stories, to your landing pages, to your websites, okay? Because ultimately, all of these are tools that communicate on your behalf. Something you write on your landing page has to be written in your brand voice, in a way that makes you stand out, okay? For example, branding is totally different to cyber celebrity branding. I have a very clear brand voice and I have a very clear angle. And this is the key to making your brand or business a success. You have to do something that really shows why you are different to everybody else. Why? Because everybody else is marketing to your potential client or customer or follower at the same time. And therefore, there needs to be these fine distinctions in order for someone to choose your brand over a competitor's brand, especially if you think about some of the bigger brands in your niche, because sometimes we feel, right, that we can't compete. But when I talk about competing within cyber celebrity branding, I don't necessarily mean that you have to go out there and, you know, punch someone out and try and steal the audience, right? I'm talking about competing, okay, for a neuron inside someone's brain. That's what we're ultimately competing for that moment in time when they have the problem you are a solution to, they instantly think of you. That is the key to competition nowadays. And if you build your brand in the right way, the bigger brands within your industry who have shed loads of money to pump into ads, to constantly have their message being put in front of your potential customers and clients, you have the power to displace those brands out of someone's mind and get your brand to be the focus, to be the center point. This is the power of your brand voice. So it means that you are putting all of your blood, sweat, and tears. If you are not doing this, you're putting all of your blood, your sweat, and your tears, and you're being busy for busy's sake. because you are creating a brand that's not working for you. If you don't have your brand voice down, all of the posts and stuff that you are creating really isn't having much of an impact. And I'll say it again, if we're working against the algorithm, you need to make sure it's got and it's having an impact. Your brand voice, most importantly, is also the content that you share. Think about what your potential client needs in order to make a buying decision. What do they need to hear? What have they heard before? How can you articulate what you do differently? How can you cut through the bravado that a potential client may have and get to the root where they now become open to listening to what you have to say, to being receptive to what it is that you have to offer? Because when you do this right, it goes back to what we've been talking about. You create that sense of inner safety. And when you ensure that every single one of your touch points is built as an asset, and by that I mean a touch point that can stand on its own and isn't reliant on your audience having to see multiple posts from you, when you can do that, it enables your potential client, customer, or follower to feel relaxed, to feel safe, and to feel like they have everything they need to make a buying decision. So the question is, how do you begin to develop your brand voice? Okay, this may be where you want to really start taking some notes. The very first thing I will say to you is, and remember, when we're building the brand and when we're on this challenge, it's about helping you to not only establish your brand, but to turn it into a business that can provide you a wonderful living and a business that can provide you a cash flow that you can depend on month in, month out, okay? So the very first thing that you need to do is you need to have what I call a signature process, a unique way of doing whatever it is that you do. And you have to have almost like a recipe for that, especially if you're sharing, information. Like I myself, I'm a coach, right? So I share information. But I can't just rely on the fact that people are going to be interested in my information when they are more interested in something that they can tangibly hold. And that's why it's easier, okay? It's easier to shift iPhones than it is to sell information. So if you're in the information space, okay, you need to have a signature process. If you're selling a product, again, you need to have a process. You need to have an understanding of almost like a brand story for why this product came to be. Okay, so people can really relate to how it connects with their values and their beliefs. You also need to understand your values. What is it that you believe in? Because when you know this, it means that you almost have a point of view. I remember we talked about this in the last session where we said that you want to create those resonance hooks, okay? Those moments where someone can really resonate with you, and values are great for doing that. But not only that, you want to ensure that you're able to link it back to your product or your service and how that can help that particular individual. So understanding your values is going to be a way for you to find your brand voice, the unique way that you need to communicate in order for your message to really land. Do not use the common cliches. Within industries, lots of different industries, maybe, people talking about building funnels or having websites, that's within my industry. Everyone talks about building a funnel and having a website, right? Or another thing that people talk about when it comes to branding is being consistent. I literally hate that. Yes, you need to be consistent, but if you're not being purposeful with your consistency, right? And what do I mean by that? As I've said before, building your content as assets so they create someone to move towards you, and you're just pumping out consistent stuff, quotes and questions and, you know, all of these things that fuel your ego because people comment on the bottom of them, but at the end of the day does nothing for helping them to transform their lives because they're not moving towards you to actually buy your product or service. So don't be looking to just say the common thing. What can you do differently? What can you say differently, okay, in order to get your point across? I just showed you that, right? I just showed you that with my example. I made a very clear distinction. Consistency. Comment below. Let me know if you've heard the trope, be consistent. Let me know if you've heard the trope, be consistent. So now I have, with my brand voice, showed you how I do things differently. Because I said I can't stand people talking about being consistent. What I believe is people need to be purposeful. And then I go on to explain that when you're purposeful and you're consistent, that's when you actually win in the game of branding. That's me showing how my brand operates differently to the common tropes that are out there. That's me stepping to the side and not doing these common cliches, stepping in front and making a stance for what I truly believe in. This is where you begin to build an authentic brand voice. Think about the things you're tired of hearing. What are the common things that you hear in your industry? Comment below. Let me know what are the things that you are tired of hearing in your industry. Because if you can become au fait with the things that you are tired of hearing, then you can really begin to understand what distinctions you need to make. Because trust me, if you are tired of hearing it, your potential customer, client, or follower has heard it all before and they are tired of hearing it too. So if you can now articulate through your posts, your stories, etc., in a different way, just do something different, it's going to get people to start taking notice. And this is how you build a really unique brand voice that's true to you. Don't be afraid to point out what's going wrong in your industry. When you point things out, when you take a stance and make your voice heard on a specific thing that's going on in your industry, it again shows that you have a point of view. People are interested in people's point of views. We love conversation. We love topics. So if you can be confident, and it takes guts sometimes. It takes guts to step out and to rebel and to be on the limb and to do things differently. It takes you to have courage to be able to do that. It's not easy, right? Especially if you're saying something that lots of people do not agree with or potentially haven't thought about it in that particular way. It takes guts, but guess what? There's other people that think like you. They just haven't had the guts to say it. Or they haven't conceived it in their mind because they're too busy consuming the same information from everybody else. And then you come along and you say something different, you give them a totally different perspective, and then all of a sudden they get that aha moment. When you can get an aha moment from your brand voice, you are on to a winning thing, right? Because it means that you have shifted somebody's belief. You have shifted somebody's mode of operandum. You've shifted the way that someone views something. And if you can create that shift, then guess what? They're going to need a new solution. And who's that solution going to be? It's going to be your brand, right? It's going to be your business because you're the one that created the aha. Talk openly about the things that did not work for you and why they did not work for you. And what was the specific solution that you found? You see, a lot of times I see posts and people start sharing information about the things that didn't work for them, right? Because it creates that camaraderie and they share their story, but they stop there. But why? If you've created camaraderie, you've connected with a potential client, you've moved them emotionally, and then you provide them with no solution to take the next step, then are you really doing what you said that you wanted to do? Are you really stepping out and looking to transform people's lives? Or are we, again, as I said, we've got to drop the ego game? Within branding, it's about doing what's right to help your potential client to make an informed decision. It's not about fueling your own ego. Because when a brand gets that self-indulgent, it just turns people off. So when you talk openly about the things that do not work for you, I'll give you a classic example. When I was starting out on my journey of becoming a coach, I was being told the same things over and over again. You need complicated funnels. You need to have a website. You need to create all of these email marketing campaigns, right? So I was being told all of this information. Then also I was being told, the only way to get your message out there is if you pump money into ads. So there goes me coming into the industry nice and green, ready to take up everything that everyone's telling me. And so what do? I start pumping 4K a month into ads to try and get my business off the ground. It was one of the most frustrating times of my life. Like if I think about it now, and I think about it too hard, it almost brings tears to my eyes, right? Because I felt all of those feelings. I felt like being the best kept secret. I knew I had something that can change and transform people's lives. I spent hours putting together a course and a program, building it all from scratch, making sure that I've got my shop ready. And I put it out there and all I can hear is crickets. But not only that, I'm pumping money into ads, it's burning a massive hole into my pocket, only for one or two people to come through my funnel, this complicated process that I created, for them to tell me that they don't have any money. Like, how frustrating is that? And this is why cyber celebrity branding was born. Okay, this was the reason why this whole process developed. Because I knew if that was frustrating for me, and guess what? I had the means. I had the means at that time to be able to pump money into ads. Many people don't have those means straight away. They need to get something into their business first before they can grow to that level. So if that was a frustration for me, then how many other people within my micro niche were feeling that frustration? And so I had to create a way to help people to circumvent that and to actually begin to get real results. That's me talking openly, okay, about something that didn't work for me, but also talking about my solution. Imagine that being in a post, right? And I start off like that. I can now move into talking about cyber celebrity branding and the differences and how it can help. And then guess what? I can tell people how much it costs. Shock horror, yeah, I'm going to tell you up front how much my program costs. Okay, so that you can run your buying decisions and you can do what you need to do to make an informed decision about working with me. And then I'm going to have a call to action on the end, which is going to now give you the opportunity to take the next step should you choose to. This is what I'm talking about in regards to making sure every single post, every single touch point is filled with your brand voice, but also it can stand on its own and create transformation in people's lives. Be challenging. Sometimes you need to say something that's going to ruffle some feathers within your micro niche, within the very people that you want to work with. Sometimes you're going to have to ruffle their feathers. They're going to have to say things that's going to get them to wake up, right? It's important because people sometimes are in so much pain that they're nursing and they're masking their pain and they're living with the life that they don't want to be led with. And now they're at the point where they just think there is no other way. And this is where the power of a brand can really step in, because you can stand for someone's transformation when they don't have the courage to stand for their own transformation. I'm going to write this one down. Stand for someone's transformation when they don't have the courage themselves to stand for their transformation. This is when you really begin to get the energy inside your brand, right? And when you really begin to start almost feeling a bit like an activist, because you're really stepping and you're standing for those groups of people that are following you, those groups of people that need support and guidance with whatever you can support and guide them on. Understand your client's objections. What do you hear? Like, what do people say to you? Why they don't move towards working with you? This is awesome information. I often see how disappointed people get, right? When someone says no. They get so disappointed, they get knocked off their perch, they get down in the dumps, woe is me. And they eat away at themselves and they beat themselves up and they take away from their confidence. But if you realize that every single no leads to valuable information that you can use, okay, in order for you to improve your experience, to ensure that your brand is working better, so that you don't end up with that no again. Or if you do end up with that no, you know how to handle it. So a lot of your content, your brand voice, what you share through all the different tools and mediums, stories, posts, websites, whatever you've got going on right now in your brand, it needs to help people to understand why they should be working with you by handling those objections, right? Understand what they are and speak to them. Speak to the skepticism. If you know that there's something, right, that somebody is going to be thinking about your potential product or service, well, don't wait for them to think about it. Speak to it and shift the perception around it. Put a post out there and share that with them so they can read it and they can get the shift, the belief change in their own unique time. As I said, speak to the skepticism, because ultimately you have to be seen as doing something different. But it has to be genuine. I can't say this enough, right? I see so many people out there trying to do attention grabbing headlines. Yeah, just going against the grain for going against the grain's sake, just because they want people to be talking about them. But if it's not genuine, people will see and feel through that. Okay, because we have the hardwired part of our brain. Remember, I talked about inner safety, what they call the reptilian brain. There's a reptilian part of us that is designed to sniff out things and to sense what's going on so that we can be alerted and either run, fight, or confront it head on, right? They call it the fight or flight syndrome, or there's also freeze as well. And so we will be able to pick up whether or not your brand is being authentic or whether or not you're just saying things for saying things' sake. So there's a balance to draw, a line that you've got to find that line and toe it really, really well. But when you begin to put all of these things together, this is when you really get the confidence to just be you. And when you can get to the point where you can just show up and you can just communicate, when you can write a post, when you can put a story, when you're no longer driven by how many likes or follows you have, because it doesn't matter, right? Some people have thousands and thousands of people, for example, inside their Facebook groups, and they are just spectators. They don't move forwards to take action. And the reason why is because the brand is not doing what it needs to do, because it's not being built in the right way. And your brand voice is the central thing that makes all of the tools that you have, stories, websites, landing pages, come to life and really communicate on your behalf. So I want to talk to you about a client of mine called Sam. Okay, Sam was a teacher for 10 years. And he wanted to basically take his mentoring service for young people and start that as a business, right? He wanted to be able to take all of his knowledge from his teaching and now build a self-help type of service which would help young people to get the skills that they need to go on to be amazing adults. But the problem he was having was he was suffering from what's called the feast and famine. Some days it's doing really good and then it drops down, right? Sales come and then suddenly you have none. And was stuck about how he was going to be able to attract consistent flow of clients into his business. And so what we had to work on is exactly what I was talking about here, working on the brand voice, okay, understanding how to craft posts, understanding how to use your stories, understanding how to create the multiple touch points that you need, understanding how to take people from not knowing who you are all the way through to engaging with you and doing business with you. Understanding how to stay in contact with people, even if they've initially said no to your potential product or service. And so we worked together to implement, and you've seen my framework, okay, the Cyber Celebrity Brand Generator, to help him turn it around. So we created a more attractive package that would appeal to both parents and students, okay, because this was the thing. When Sam was initially communicating with his brand voice, it was very confused, and he was confused as well. Should he be talking to the parents? Should he be speaking to the children? But ultimately, you want to get the message out to the children, but there's things and parameters around that. So what we had to do is we had to develop a brand voice that enabled him to speak to both people, because ultimately it was going to be the parents that were going to have the finances that would be able to support their young people to go through the program. And then we created his brand, the Family Breakthrough. And that became an event. It became something that he did live. It became something that he then built an online program around. And now he's able to, brand his knowledge in a way and use his brand to really communicate what it is that he does and have both parents and their children coming towards him. As he shifted his brand voice, he was instantly earning 6K more per month, right? That was the very first thing that happens. Now he's gone on to 3x the amount that he made as a teacher. And he's built a team and he's franchised his model, right? This is the power of getting your brand voice right and understanding how to build a brand in the way that I'm talking, to build a cyber celebrity brand. Also, I want to talk to you about Emmanuel. Okay, Emmanuel had the vision of using his brand to travel around the world, sharing his knowledge about the power of a positive mind. He had a number of different skills under his belt, and he wanted to use that to help empower other people. But again, he struggled with the process of creating an advice sharing business online. So he didn't know how could he get his knowledge online in a way that would get people to take him seriously and buy what it is that he had to offer. And he also found the process confusing, right? Whatever he'd been told, the funnels, the websites, the landing pages, all of that was just very overwhelming. And so again, we started to build his brand strategy and we started to put together his brand voice. And in doing that, it gave him instant clarity about what he was doing and just made the entire process so much more easier. And in just 4 weeks, he was able to get the brand up and running in a way where he was able to start affecting people's lives. And now he's attracting a steady flow of people. He travels all around the world, and he's already surpassed his 10K per month target. So what did they do? I want to share that with you right now, okay? Because the thing and how we mastered the brand voice was that they came on board, okay, with the Brand You to Success Academy. And the things that we looked at was we enabled them to really understand how to get their brand voice by looking at what I call the cyber celebrity branding roadmap. Not only that, we also looked at how do you go about creating high ticket offers, offers that really get people engaged, get people fired up, and gets people moving towards you in order to make a buying decision. We also looked, using my formula, the brand strategy generator formula, we looked at ways in which you can build a strategy for your brand that really nurtures your potential clients, okay, helps them to get those touch points. It's very, very important. The touch points have to be built. You have to have what I call a touch point plan in place that can take someone from not knowing who you are into wanting to become a potential client. Also talking about validating your offer. When you are creating a brand, it's very important, okay, that you validate your offer. It's very important that you understand that your offer that you have is actually something the market wants. And you have to go out and get the validation for that so that you can really understand how to build the brand securely. And many people miss this step. Okay, they miss the step of the validation of their offer. And it's such a crucial part. And the only way that you can get the validation is through developing your brand voice and getting that level of communication, right? And we also looked at the sales call strategy and also looking at how do you create a scenario where you feel in control of your sales calls. Imagine feeling in control of your sales calls. Yeah, or imagine not even needing to have a sales call because your brand has done all the selling for you. So all you have to do is have closing calls. Again, remember I said earlier, big distinction between selling and closing. And you've got to work that out inside your mind. Create your brand so your brand can sell for you. And then you can then focus in on closing. Then we looked at how do you go about creating it in a way where you can build your business fast using organic processes. How can you build your brand fast using organic processes? And I say organic first rather than paid because I believe, this is one of the things that I believe, you do not need to spend a dime on ads, okay, till you're bringing at least 10K a month into your business. And if you're being told otherwise, it's going to end up in a disaster, especially if you're starting out. Why? Because trying to understand how to communicate in, let's say, an ad, when you don't have your brand voice fully developed, is going to lead to you hearing crickets. And how do I know that? Because I've been there, I've done it, right? So it's very important that you understand how to fill your business fast with organic traffic and build your brand organically and then move on to paid strategies if you want. Also, understanding ways and ideas of how you can speed the process up. Okay, we had to work on that. You know, how can you master the skills? Because to build a brand requires lots of different skills. You need to be able to communicate, right? And you need to be able to stand in front of camera and you need to be able to engage an audience. That's part of your branding. Okay, you need to have your colors, your logos, and your fonts as well. Okay, but you need to understand how to create your posts. You need to understand how to use your stories. You know, you need to understand how do you build out an email marketing campaign so that you've got all of these touch points happening all at once. And the beauty of the process is, guys, you don't have to do all of this stuff up front. Okay, you can do it as you go, right? You build it as you go. And that's what we talk about, understanding how to accelerate this process. Why do I say that? Because oftentimes we think we have to have everything ready. We need to build it all beforehand, you know, build everything in our brand before we go out there and start serving people. And actually, that is something that I fundamentally think is flawed because nothing will ever be perfect until you've actually got buy-in members of the public coming through to help you to refine that process. So this is part of the package of what you get when you go on the Brand You to Success Academy, okay? Also, there's accountability and there is feedback. So crucial. If you're doing this on your own and you've got no one to hold you accountable, you've got no one to get feedback off, it can be a very lonely journey. And especially when you're trying to work out your brand voice, you need to know how to put it out there and also to assess, you know, how is it working? What do you need to tweak? What do you need to change? How can you improve that voice so that it really works? And that takes a bit of a process. It takes some time to refine. And that's why it's important that you have accountability and you have feedback as well. Also, as part of the Brand You to Success Academy, there is also certified progress. So as you go through, you get certificates for your achievements, okay? And then there are some bonuses, okay, that they also had access to. So legal basics for the creative entrepreneur. This is all the legal frameworks that you will need in order to run your brand. You need legal frameworks in order to run your brand. Things that are underneath the scenes, okay, that keep you protected and keep you covered. If you're talking about subjects, let's say if you're talking about, you know, emotions and trauma, that may be one of the things that you're talking about through your brand. And if you don't safeguard yourself around that, okay, and have disclaimers in that help people to understand that, you know, you are sharing information, but ultimately they have to take responsibility for themselves. Okay, you open yourself up to potential issues down the line. You know, people may sue, you know, there may be some comebacks. And so it's very important that you understand that infrastructure underneath as well. And then looking at the templates, social media templates, exactly how do you write your posts? You know, how do you write your messages? How do you write your hooks? How do you get your message out there that's just so captivating and so engaging that people want to, they can not only but do business with you, right? Also, inspiration, mood boards. You need to know and have the inspiration behind your brand. Okay, how do you build it? What is it that you're inspiring to? What other voices out there do you like? You know, what other images are being used in brands that you appreciate? If you're taking a picture, you know, how we talked about this yesterday, how do you want that picture to come across? You know, if you want to be seen as inviting and you want to have a smile on your face, you know, do you want to be tall and so people can see the authority within you? All of these little nuances are things that you have to master in order to be able to build your brand. And we cover all of that in the Brand You to Success Academy. Also, how do you build and get together a set of like a toolkit, you know, with all the things that you need in one place to ensure that the process becomes streamlined. If you're working as a solo person at the moment, you know, building a brand, as we saw with Sam earlier, he was able to franchise his model. He's now got other coaches that are now using his signature process. Okay, and they are all around the country as well as globally because he also has his process online. But the key is when you are solo, you've got to be able to make everything as streamlined as possible. Okay, you need to have all your different templates in one place so it becomes very easy for you to transact and very easy for you to keep your business flowing and give you all the time and freedom that you desire, right? Because we don't want business to be hard work. Comment below, let me know, right? Would you like to be able to grow your business while having all of the time and all of the freedom that you promised yourself when you stepped into it? Well, in order to do that, you have to make sure you're packaging things up. And that's what we talk about when it comes to your brand toolkits. Okay, making sure it all comes together. Now, what I want to do is to share with you how much it is if you want to get into the Brand You to Success Academy. Okay, because to get into the Brand You to Success Academy, all of this that I've shared with you, all of these processes which help your brand to stand firm and stand strong, okay, and compete against the rest, the value of it is $14,547. Okay, but on today's session, you know, and over this challenge, you'll be able to get access to it for just $500. And with this $500, you get instant access to everything within the Brand You to Success Academy. And I'm going to share a link with you so you can actually go and check it out. But you get access to every single thing, and all the content is given to you up front. There is even a way, okay, for you to get started for just $49. Okay, but with that process, the content is given to you over a period of time. Okay, so there really isn't any excuse. If this is something that you know that you want to do, you want to build a brand that's going to help you to really get your message across. You want to grow a business that has consistent revenue. You know, you're tired of banging your head against the brick wall, trying to work out how you can, you know, make it happen on your own. The trialing and the erroring is literally got you to the point where you want to tear your hair out. You know, you're still stuck in a day job, not able to transition into your passion full time, and you really want to start moving in a direction that's going to help you a reality, then this is unbelievable value. It's absolutely incredible value. So if you want to find out more about this, I'm going to also post this in the comment section below, but also here is a link, you know, for you to be able to go and find out more about this and the process. Okay, so let's carry on. There is also a 30-day money-back guarantee, just so you know, so it removes all the risk off the table if you try it over the 30-day process and you then realize that, you know, this isn't for you, then you have the 30-day money-back guarantee. And as I said, I'm going to put the link in the comments section or either above this video, depending on when you are watching it, in order for you to get all the information that you need. Okay, so who is this for? It's for you if you're ready to replace your day job income with ready-to-buy clients in under 90 days. It's for you if you're ready to get more clients fast without having to waste time posting endlessly on social media, creating long videos and blogs that no one will eventually read. It's for you if you're enjoying the momentum that you've created over these 3 days so far, and you now want to continue that momentum to really turn what you are doing now into a success. It's for you if you know you need to make a shift in your business and life and want to take yourself to the next financial level. It's for you if you're tired of struggling to do this on your own. How frustrating is that? And you want a clear structure and an easy process with easy guidelines to follow to get you there fast. This is for you if the process that you're using currently is overwhelming, if it's daunting, and you know that you need coaching, you know you need mentoring, you know you need hand-holding to get you to where you want to be. It's for you if you're struggling to package your knowledge up or your know-how up into, let's say, a high-ticket offer, you know, something you can charge from 2K to 15K for. If you're struggling to do that, this is the program for you. Also, it's for you if you want to save time, money, energy, and frustration that's being caused by the trial and the error. It's time to stop the trialing and the error because all it does is that it causes frustration, it burns a hole in your pocket, and it gives you more and more reason not to continue with your dream. It's also for you if you want to know how to position yourself and your business as a trusted resource. You know, even if you're just starting out, how do you get that impression across that you are the go-to brand in your chosen field? It's also for you if you want to combine your passions, your talents, and your skills into a cohesive brand package, as we've been speaking about. Let that come through your brand voice and to give your business the edge. And it's for you if you're looking for a program that has everything that you need to save you from having to spend unnecessarily, right? That you don't have to be in this program and that program and all over the place just so you can get the piece of the puzzle together. I mean, that was my experience for a very long time, right? I spent over 50K going to all of these different masterminds to try and put this information that I'm delivering to you together. And so I've created this in a way that once you invest, you don't need to shop around, you can have everything in one place. It's for you if you're determined to get a huge shift in your life this year. Time is of the essence. Time is constantly changing. We never know what's going to happen tomorrow. If you want to build a legacy, you want a future that you can feel proud of, feel aligned to, feel connected to, you need to have started yesterday. Okay, that's the truth of the reality of it, because the digital world is constantly changing, it's constantly evolving, and it's only going to get more and more competitive as more and more people move onto the internet. You know, so if you want to be ahead of the game, you should have started yesterday. But if you haven't started yesterday, well, today's a brilliant day to start, right? It's also for you if you have a dream of yours, and for a while you know that in order to get it going, you need to get that accountability, and you need that coaching in order to motivate you to take the action that you need. Very, very important. I hear so many people talking all the time, talking about what they want to do and how they want to do it. But I see very, very few people actually being able to action it and get it to the point where they actually get this thing off the ground. And so if you know that that's you, if you know that it's time to really shift that, well, then you can join the Brand You to Success Academy. And as I said, you can join for as little as $49 a month. All right. So what do I want to talk to you to wrap this all up with? I want us to now look at the credibility bio. As you know, we've been working on your NxKit. We've been looking at all of these different things and we've been putting it into this dynamic brand showcase so that you've got something by the end of these 5 days that you can instantly go out and use and start creating this nurturing transformation that we've been talking about and harnessing over these 5 days. Now, the credibility bio is one of the ways for you to get your brand voice across. So it's going to work in 2 ways, okay? It's going to help you to begin to identify your brand voice. But not only that, you're going to also have it should you need it. Remember our motto, if you stay ready, you never have to get ready. And when you start branding in the right way, let me tell you something. Opportunities start flooding your way. People start asking you to come and do presentations. People start asking you to feature on their podcasts. You know, old school media gets interested. You know, they start asking you to be inside magazines. People are attracted to where they can feel the energy of success. And that's what your brand does. It creates the energy of success if it's built in the right way. If you're using the cyber celebrity framework that we've been talking about, I've just explained to you, it creates the energy of success and it makes you magnetic. Now, with all of these new opportunities, you need to be ready. And it's classic things that people ask you for. If they want you to be on their podcast, if they want you to feature in their blog, whatever the opportunity that's coming your way, one of the things that they're going to ask you for is a bio. They're going to want your bio so they can put it on their website and they can advertise you before you actually come to their stage. Depending on some circumstances, you know, if you're in like a multi-speaking event, you've got an opportunity to present your message at a multi-speaking event, your attendance rate, especially if the event's online, so people can choose who they want to listen to and dip in and dip out, your attendance rate is dependent on your credibility bio and your expert title that we talked about yesterday. And why do I say your show up rate depends on that? It's because that is literally all that person's audience has, all that they have to make a decision whether or not you are worth their time. Let's cut it to the chase. They need to make a decision to know whether or not you are worth their time. Right? And so the credibility bio, your expert title is really, really crucial. And this is one of the things that we're going to work on. And then you're going to add that to your NxKit. So as I said, if you stay ready, you never have to get ready. And someone reading that, it will enable you to build a level of authority inside their mind. Because remember, we talked about perception yesterday. If you're not getting the sales that you want, if you're not getting the transforming the lives that you want, it's because the perception of who you are isn't big enough or isn't great enough in that potential person's mind. All right, so the credibility bio, I'm going to show you how to write it. And I recommend that it's written in the first person. Okay, because it almost gives the effect as though somebody else has written it. You know, like if someone's introducing you to the stage or something like that, it gives the thing as though someone else is recommending you as opposed to you having to do it yourself, right? And so it's important to kind of write it in that third person. Third person, shouldn't say first person, should say third person way. Yeah, so written in a third person way. So the very first thing that you want to do, step 1, is you want to have an opening statement about who you are and what you do. Write this down. You want an opening statement that declares who you are and what you do. Makes a firm line in the sand. So when I read that sentence, if all that's all I get a chance to read, because I don't know, the fire alarm goes off, or as I had earlier, a power issue happens, or whatever it is, okay, I get the snapshot of who you are and what it is that you do. So this is an example of mine. Beamed in from Pranic Krypton, Jor'EL Mitchell is the authority when it comes to personal branding, the art of getting known, respected, remembered, and paid for who you truly are. Okay, so that's my opening statement about who I am and what it is that I do. And so what I need for you, this is going to be part of your task for tonight. I want you to create your opening statement for your credibility bio. Once you've done step one, the next step is to talk about your challenges and what it inspired you to create. A key thing is meeting people where they are at. And I want to show you that because this is key when it comes to your messaging, when it comes to making decisions about your brand. The very first thing you need to ask is, am I meeting people where they are at? Don't get so caught up in the brilliance of your idea that you don't think about how it's coming across to other people. If you notice, I'm going to go back on this part of my bio. I talk about personal branding. I don't mention cyber celebrity branding. Why? Because people don't know what cyber celebrity branding is. Now, in my mind, if I've conceived it, I think it's an amazing thing. You think that you have to use it all the time. You don't. You need to be strategic. And this is where the brand voice comes in, right? So I'm meeting people where they are at, right? I talk about personal branding. I also put a little bit in there that makes me a bit quirky, right? Beamed in from Planet Krypton. So for comic book hero fans, it's like, okay, because, you know, some people always want to know Jor'EL, like, you know, is it the same as Superman's father? And I always turn around and say, yes, I take 100% credit for giving birth to Superman, right? So it's a little bit of a thing. And, you know, so it just gives it something different. It gets people to kind of look at it and take notice, like, doing different Planet Krypton, like, what is he talking about, right? And then they carry on to read the rest. But the key thing here, meeting people where they are at. Personal branding. This is something that they will know. This is something that if someone's looking to build their brand, they're going to resonate with that. Okay, so then step two talks about the challenges and then what it inspired you to create. Having overcome many challenges in his life and having learned many life lessons, he has founded his unique strain of branding, cyber celebrity branding, to teach you how to create that lifestyle you have always desired, right? So I've got the challenges, just a brief synopsis of what that was, talked about my unique perspective, and also I've also mentioned a promise. So also mention the promise, right? Because yeah, it's cyber celebrity branding, but who cares? Yeah, it's a nice name, but who cares? And this is the thing that I always say to myself, like, I'm going to share this with you. Whenever I write something, I literally say, who cares? Like, I'm not afraid to say to myself that no one cares, right? No one cares about what it is that I do, or how it is that I do it, or how many hours I've spent doing it, or how much money I've put in. Nobody cares. Why? Because people are more interested in what they need, right? We're all living our lives. And you see, that's why when, you know, if my brand isn't getting out there in the way that I want, I don't beat myself up and wonder about it. You know, if I'm not getting likes and follows, I don't care because I expect it. I'm like, nobody cares. They're interested in what I can do for them, and therefore my brand needs to articulate that. And I need to create my brand in a way that gives them a reason to care. Caring is something that you earn. Write that down. Someone caring about your brand or your message is something that you earn. And in the beginning, you are going to have to create an amazing justification as to why they should care. And the onus is on you to create the opportunity for them to find out about your product or your service. You know, all of this thing of like, you know, oh, I just want people to come to me and I just want to sit behind my laptop and people come to me. It doesn't work like that. The biggest and the best brands, let's take a brand like Tony Robbins, for example. Tony Robbins, biggest and the best. He has the ability to sneeze and everyone run in the direction of where he sneezed because it's Tony Robbins, because he's built his brand over time. He's created over years a justification to why people should listen. It's taken him years. And even with all of that behind him, He still pumps shed loads of money into marketing, right? He still has affiliate marketers at different points when his products are out on the ground, working on his behalf to get his message on the ground to people. He may sit there and present like he has the world flocking at his feet, but that's because he's paid for a huge team to create that perception. Don't be fooled. Don't be trying to follow the big brands that you see out there who are serving everybody, right? How did they start out as a better exploration when you see someone that you're in admiration of because they're serving such a big audience? Because I can guarantee you they did not start out, bam, serving everybody. They had many failures. They got back up. They had to dust themselves off and then get back on the treadmill again. They had to really understand and harness their brand voice. And once they connected with that group of people, those group of people then went on and began to share their brand and their message. And then other different types of people came on board. So again, with your brand, make sure that you're focusing it in. And this is why I say meet people where they're at and then show them what it is that you do. Okay, so that's why I've got cyber celebrity branding now in step 2, and it's almost like my second paragraph. Once you've done step 2, then move on to step 3, where you're going to talk about your mission and what you are currently doing. Okay, you're going to talk about, what is it? Because what is it that you're working towards? Like, what's the mission right now? What is it that you got planned? And then also, what are you doing to get there? All right, so Jor'EL's mission is to help every individual to unlock and then inspire others with their infinite potential. And he travels internationally teaching entrepreneurs, professionals, and individuals like yourself branding and business lessons, helping you to inspire others while increasing your quality of life. Okay, and that's what concludes this particular credibility bio. Again, you notice here I took out cyber celebrity branding, and I came back and said helping individuals like yourself branding and business lessons. My potential audience are more likely going to resonate with branding and business than they are going to resonate with cyber celebrity branding, as slick and as amazing as it sounds. And I'm okay with that, because once I can connect with someone, and you need to be okay with that, because once you can connect with someone, then you have the opportunity to then lay out the table, right? And educate them about what it is that you do. And if you are standing out and you're creating something unique, understand education is the way to really help someone for it to click. It takes time to educate people and to get it to stick. And it's using your brand voice and it's understanding how to construct things like your credibility bio that's going to enable you to do that. Just comment below. Let me know, does that resonate with you? Let me know if it's making sense. Let me know how you're finding it so far. All right, good. So what I'm going to show you now is the complete credibility bio. So, beamed in from planet Krypton, Jor'EL Mitchell is the authority when it comes to personal branding, the art of getting known, respected, remembered, and paid for who you truly are. Having overcome many challenges in his life and having learnt many life lessons, he has founded his unique strain of branding, cyber celebrity branding, to teach you how to create that lifestyle you have always desired. Jor'EL's mission is to help every individual to unlock and then inspire others with their infinite potential. And he travels internationally teaching entrepreneurs, professionals, and individuals like yourself branding and business lessons, helping you to inspire others while increasing your quality of life. So that's the assignment, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I want you to work on today. Okay, I want you to work on your credibility bio. And then we're going to add that to your NxKit. right? And we're going to add that in the about section. So let me just share that with you right now. Let me know, as I said, what's your key takeaway from today, if that's all making sense for you while I'm changing my screen. How are you finding the challenge so far? I'm really enjoying myself. I'm sure you can can feel that, right? I'm really enjoying it. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen now, and we're working on this press kit together. Right, so you should have your name, you should have your credibility title or your expert title, you should have your location in place. We still got to sort out this vision part, but we're not going to do that right now. I'm going to show you how to do that tomorrow. Okay, you should then also have your social media, you should have your email, and you should also have your telephone number. So now you're going to begin to see how you're going to now start in one page being able to give people all of these touch points that they need in order to make the buying decision. Also now you should already be filling in your photos, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back to Edit Press Kit, and we are going to add our credibility bio in the My Story section. Okay, and so literally as you create that, you're going to just take a copy of your credibility bio and you are going to add it here. Let me just get my credibility bio up. And when you are creating this as well, make sure that it's really succinct. Okay, it's very important that it's a succinct piece of content, because again, people don't have time when they're trying to get a snapshot. They don't have time to read loads and loads and loads. But if you follow the process and then strip it back, okay, then you will build it in a way that's very succinct. So I'm going to just add that in here now, and I'm going to click Save Changes. All right, good. So then you get your About section. So now they've got that bit about you as well. What I want you to do as well, you can decide, I'm going to go back into edit, whether or not you need any statistics on yourself. So if we come back to the My Story section, you have the opportunity to add stats. So like if you're in the health industry, or if you're in any, let's say you're a modeling industry, whatever your industry is, and you're required to put some statistics about yourself, you can add those, but they're not mandatory, of course. And we're going to then look tomorrow, or it could be the day after, we're going to look at, how do you put together the products and services part? Okay, so you give people all the information they need in that section to make a buying decision. And we're also going to look at, over the course as well, is, how do you create a mission? Because we're going to want to now add our mission so people get a snapshot in terms of, what is the movement? What are they joining? And that snapshot's going to replace this text that we've got here. And so slowly but surely, as long as you play full out, we're going to build this NxKit up. So it's got all the information that you need to help someone make a buying decision. But remember our mottos, right? Who can remember? Who can write our mottos down in the chat, right? Motto number 1, something is always better than nothing. We're not looking for perfection here. Just begin to put it together, because a template is smart. And when you share it with someone, they'll get the information in a beautiful way. Okay, so something is always better than nothing. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, you're going to focus in on what you do have and use that at your disposal right now. And remember that this is something that you can build up over time. So that's motto number 2. And then finally, my favorite one, if you stay ready, you never have to get ready. So that brings us to the end of day 3. Again, remember, if you want to join the Brand You to Success Academy, I'm going to put a link in the bottom of the chat after this session. And you'll be able to go over there, you'll be able to see everything that's there. And as I said, for $500, you get all of the content delivered to you up front. All of the content, so nothing's drip fed, but you can get started for as little as $49. And therefore, you're going to be given content over a period of time. So take some time this evening to go and check that out. Come with any questions that you may have about it tomorrow and the day after. But yeah, really looking forward to serving you tomorrow. We're going to get deeper now. We're going to really start wrapping this up. We've done brand voice today. We're going to then look at your mission. We're going to then look at, how to build a robust brand that really, regardless of how many numbers you have, even if you have no one in terms of your on a list or anything like that, you can still build a successful six-figure business if you follow this the three-armed model that I talk about. So I'm going to share that with you. And we're also going to understand how we can create a dynamic mission for our brands so that we can now not only get people involved, in engaging with you, but we can start building a movement, right? And when you do it in the right way, you can build a movement. And a movement just needs one person, two people, three people. You build your movement over time. Big brands don't have 1 million followers straight off the bat. When I was building my Instagram, I started off with 100 followers. I then went to 1,000 followers. I then went to 1,500 followers. And then I was up to 10,000 followers before I knew it, because I was building a movement. Yeah, so we're going to also learn how to do that as well. I've really, really, really enjoyed hosting today. If you have any questions that you need answering, again, drop them in the comments below. And I look forward to serving you again tomorrow. Okay, until tomorrow, take care, everyone.